Welcome to this Fox 6 News special, Heroin in the Suburbs. I'm Brad Hicks. What you're about to see will open your eyes, break your heart, and change everything you ever thought you knew about heroin. It's a drug of last resort, a fix for back alley junkies, something so frightening, if for nothing but the needle alone, a risk no reasonable kid is willing to take, certainly not your child. It's not easy to watch. Children die, lives are ruined, families fall apart. But as hard as it is to watch, it is immeasurably more difficult for the families just like yours who never thought it would happen to them. Cedarburg in Ozaukee County, a picture of perfect suburbia, a quaint downtown enjoyed by close families living on quiet tree-lined streets. In a good place to raise good kids, Ryan Willard was more than that. He was a great kid.
Everybody always told us Ryan is such a nice, polite boy. He was into soccer for a long time, so he was a really good soccer player. And he also was in the Scouts. All the years his dad was a Scoutmaster, so he was one letter away from being an Eagle Scout. He did a lot of things at church. He also climbed the top of the Grand Teton when he was 13. Loved to play the guitar. Girls all liked him.
Ryan's parents thought he might become a writer or an artist. They never dreamed their son would become a heroin addict.
He died June 18th on Father's Day.
The same day, A.J. Flannery, who a week before had graduated from West Bend West, surprised close family friend John Grosnick with a Father's Day he'll never forget.
He wakes me up and then, I'm going to make you breakfast.
A.J. had cleaned the house and bought John a gift.
Great day. I mean, unbelievable great day.
That night, A.J. shot up heroin and died on the floor, a syringe next to his body.
I was shocked. I literally was shocked. I had absolutely, positively no idea. Never saw it coming, never saw it.
Most parents don't. The suburban junkies defy the stereotype.
They're kind of this hidden person.
Dave Glick is a drug counselor in Waukesha County.
They don't want people to know. Kind of stay away from the crazy crowd of people that are running around looking like drug addicts.
In here we have heroin that was seized early in 2006.
A record year in Waukesha County. Captain Chuck Wood was seeing heroin take hold in the suburbs.
It's in all the schools. It's in the public schools, it's in the private schools, it's in the parochial schools.
And it's cheap. Kids say it's easier to get than alcohol.
It's on the rise.
Special Agent Dave Spakowitz, with undercover surveillance like this and confidential informants like Nikki, he has pieced together a picture of how heroin dealers hook their prey.
Criminal groups will bring in a large quantity of heroin, high purity, low cost, give it away for free in an attempt to get a user or addicted population.
Once a couple kids make it seem okay, and make it not seem like such a bad thing. You learn more about it. You get more kids thinking it's okay. Then it just takes off.
And now, once they see that they have a substantial client base, now they start reducing their quality.
The dealers cut the heroin with filler to make it go farther. And recently, to give that weaker heroin a boost, started adding a synthetic drug called fentanyl. Just 3 grains, the size of tiny salt crystals, are enough to kill. And dealers aren't real careful about how much they mix in. The overdoses started adding up. More users started dying.
You inject the same amount, and boom, it kills you.
Dr. James Volberding has seen them wheeled into the ER.
It can dramatically reduce the drive to breathe, and then your heart and blood pressure will go away and you will die.
Heroin in Milwaukee comes from 2 sources. Drugs from Colombia coming in through New York are sold on the city's south side. Heroin from Asia is shuttled through Chicago, up the interstate to the city's north side, and for 2 years, straight into the arm of Hannah Holtz.
It's indescribable how horrible it is. Come here.
Hannah started shooting up before she was 18, a secret she kept hidden in her Port Washington home.
It was pretty gross sometimes. One time I couldn't do it. I tried for 3 hours to hit my vein and I couldn't get it, and I tried my ankle, my legs, my hands, my wrist, my neck, everywhere.
A dire warning from a detective wasn't enough to stop her.
I said, Hannah, you need to stop because you're going to be dead.
Treatment didn't stop her.
When you got out of detox, how soon after did you go and shoot up?
The same day.
Almost getting shot by drug dealers on Milwaukee's north side didn't stop her.
We said we were never going to do that again, but then the next day we did it. And
nearly dying from an overdose didn't stop her.
I was turning blue and I couldn't breathe, and I thought I was going to die, but I didn't.
And how soon after that did you do it again?
The next day.
Hannah's mom finally stopped her when she found syringes hidden in this stuffed dog in Hannah's room and called the cops. Then, when Hannah was in jail, a friend of hers died from an overdose. It was Ryan Willard.
He quit for such a long time. And that's what scares me about it.
It was a real shock to us, too, a terrible shock.
A terrible shock for everyone who knew him. Ryan had come out of rehab a completely new person, totally clean, in control, and convinced he would never go back to the drug that nearly ruined him.
He was doing great. He was happy. He was so proud of himself.
Ryan had even drawn these pictures of his brave battle to beat heroin, an evil syringe being impaled by the sword of his determination. Months later, Ryan Willard was dead. When we come back, two childhood friends, Melissa and Angela, both with bright futures and loving families, and both would become heroin addicts. When we return, Angela's last day. Plus, Melissa's riveting interview where she reveals how she got hooked and what heroin did to her life. 4 months after our first interview, Hannah is back in court. Has she been able to stay clean? Plus, the one thing every parent should look for, the heroin addict's dead giveaway. And the one picture you should never forget. Welcome back to this Fox 6 News special, Heroin in the Suburbs. Center Street and St. John in Cedarburg. Within 2 blocks of this quiet suburban corner, 2 teenage girls would wage their very private and painful battles with heroin addiction. 8 years ago, Melissa Erickson and Angela Raddick were just 2 innocent little girls celebrating a birthday, neighbors with nice homes and loving parents. Their future seemed bright. But in a matter of months after she turned 18, Melissa Erickson's life would be turned upside down. Angela would never make her 18th birthday. November 29, 2005, Angela Raddick was celebrating a special day, the day she got her driver's license.
And I said, Angela, this is an Angela day.
Her mom gave her an 8:30 curfew and $20 to take a friend out for dinner.
And I said she could drive 14 miles.
But when Angela got home late,
I checked the mileage on the car, and she had driven 81 miles.
Angela and her friends Ryan Hinkle and Caitlin Schutte and a drug dealer from Grafton named Ben Stibbe had gone into Milwaukee to buy heroin from Stibbe's contact. The 3 friends returned to Ryan's apartment in Cedarburg and shot up. The next morning, Bonnie Raddick went to wake her daughter up for school.
I need an ambulance to my home, okay? I went to wake up my daughter, and it doesn't look like she's breathing, and she's got fluid coming out of her mouth. She's got blue lips. Okay, blue all over. Okay, hold on.
My name is Bonnie Raddick.
My name is Michael Raddick.
And this is a photo of our daughter, Angela Raddick, who died on November 30th, 2005, at the age of 17.
I'm Al Maxwell, father of Lynn, who passed away December 12th, 2002.
My name is Amanda. This is my brother Matthew, who died on October 16th, 2005.
As other families who'd lost kids to heroin and the police started piecing things together, Ben Stibbe's name came up again.
The day that Matt died, Ben Stibbe called 3 times.
And again.
I called her the night before, and who should answer the phone but Ben Stibbe.
But Ben Stibbe wasn't some evil outsider. He was just another kid from the community, an addict who found he could feed his need by hooking up other kids and taking his cut, a heroin middleman who would be convicted of homicide. After Angela's death, her friends Ryan and Caitlin knew they were in trouble. They worked with special agents to set up Stibbe's source in this parking lot on the city's north side. Their actions led to the eventual arrest of 13 people on federal drug trafficking charges, including Ben Stibbe. Stibbe now also faces 3 new reckless homicide charges and is serving 18 years for Angela's death.
He was the worst addict I've ever seen.
Mike Vann has known Ben Stibbe for years. He also knows what parents should look for. Before he was a drug counselor in Ozaukee County, he was a heroin addict.
Some of my clients have said that they have gone into withdrawal right at home and their parents never knew.
Heroin users tend to scratch a lot, have a runny nose, and sometimes tiny pupils. When they can't get enough heroin, they can't eat. They'll lose weight and have trouble getting up in the morning. Also, pay attention to any new friends, a loss of interest in things, and unaccounted for time. Any of those clues can be a red flag, but there's one thing that's a dead giveaway.
Objects are gone. Their money is gone.
The addict's daily craving for the drug quickly outpaces their ability to pay for it, so they start stealing. But just knowing what to look for isn't always enough. Often the hardest thing for parents is overcoming their own fear of what they might find out.
The parents get right into denial with their child.
Even in a heart-to-heart talk.
I tried so hard to tell her, Ange, don't get involved with any of these people.
The heroin does the talking.
We sat down, we had the talk. He said no, he wasn't going there, he wasn't doing that.
Kids are typically going to say, no, I'm fine.
Exactly what Matt Kubisky told his parents.
Don't believe a word they say, because they will lie.
They lie because they're afraid, ashamed, and controlled not by their conscience, but by their craving.
24-hour-a-day craving.
We met Kevin through the AIDS Resource Center's needle exchange.
3 of them, that'd be good.
He'd come in from the suburbs for new syringes. If you want to see what heroin will do to your life, spend some time with him.
What's your life been like since you've been doing heroin?
Simple 4 letters, hell.
No money, no car, no job, no friends.
Everything's gone.
He's lost it all because all he can think about is heroin.
You wake up feeling sick, you just can't function.
He knows where it's headed.
It's got to change. We can't continue down this road any longer.
But when we last saw Kevin, he was trying to scrape together a few bucks for a fix to get him through the day. Unfortunately, most addicts won't try to beat it until they've been arrested. 8 months after her mom turned her in, Hannah was at the last of her court appearances, on probation, but off heroin.
My cravings get really strong at times, but sometimes it just gets so intense that I can almost taste it. And sometimes I dream that I'm doing it too still. It's crazy just thinking that I would keep doing something saying, oh, I'm going to die from this, but I'm just going to keep doing it anyway.
Don't say not in my school. Don't say not my child.
Other people knew, other kids knew. I just urge friends to come forward because you might save your friend's life.
She just got caught up in something that she just didn't know anything about.
And I remember after she told me that she was addicted to heroin, she said, I didn't think it would happen to me.
I need an ambulance to my home, okay? I went to wake up my daughter, and it doesn't look like she's breathing, and she's got fluid coming out of her mouth. She's got blue lips. Okay, blue all over.
Angela's childhood friend, the other little girl you saw in that birthday picture, is here in our studio now. Melissa Erickson is well on her way to recovery now, which is great news. But I want to rewind the clock a little bit here. Take us back a few years. How in the world did you even start trying heroin?
Well, I'm pretty sure it started when I moved out of my house, and I believed that I could live on my own and make good choices, and I think that's all where it went wrong. And I ended up moving in with 3 guys, and it just quickly started doing a lot more drugs than I've ever done. And next thing I know, we're going down to Milwaukee to get heroin, and I think the first time I ever did it, I snorted it, which I don't think a lot of people think, if it's a big deal, as much as, injecting it into you, which I think it's completely the same.
How did you get to that point where you were injecting it?
I think it was one day, my girlfriend was, Melissa, you can have this same drug, but just get so much more messed up if you do it like this.
And pretty soon after that, things started to really unravel for you, didn't they?
Definitely.
What happened?
Well, soon after that, I got in trouble with the police, and my home, the place that I called home, got raided by the cops, and they destroyed my whole house, and everything was gone. All my friendships, family friendships, everything that I had just disappeared, I swear, within like 10 minutes. It's really scary, and it's really raw, and just, it's just a really dark, scary place. It's really painful, it's lonely. Definitely when I look back, it's not a place I would ever want to be again. It's just really hard to talk about because, I mean, even though, you know, I'm recovering, this is still something that I'm going to have to, day by day, hour by hour, you know, control for the rest of my life.
Do you have something you want to tell other teenagers who are watching right now?
Well, I mean, I would just say, you know, my friends and I, back when we were in high school, I would just be like, you know, we just want to try it. You know, it won't hurt to try it. But heroin, if you try it, that's all you need. You know, you don't just, you know, inject it once and, ooh, it's okay, I won't do it. You're hooked from that point on. And I think kids and teenagers, parents need to really focus in on that. You know, kids just think it's okay to try it, but it's not at all. And I just wanted to say that, you know, it took a lot for my parents to step up and kick me out of the house and do things, but if they wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't be here. And I think parents, whether they love their kids too much to not do anything, in the end, you know, would you rather do that or have your child die? And I think bottom line is clearly they're going to want to do whatever it takes to help them, and they definitely should do that.
Melissa, thanks.
When we come back, dealing with denial. A star athlete from the suburbs busted selling heroin. Now he wants other kids to learn from his mistake. So why is there silence from the schools? Welcome back to this FOX6 News special, Heroin in the Suburbs. By now, the picture should be crystal clear. Many of the kids getting hooked on heroin don't fit the stereotype. They are clean-cut, they come from good families, and they had no clue where heroin would end up taking them. If that picture is still a bit fuzzy for you, focus on this. Brett Hutari was a star athlete at Waukesha West High School, a standout wrestler and baseball player. He was the kind of kid that other kids looked up to. Last year, Brett was busted for selling heroin. He was also a user. Brett's now in jail, but the court has let Brett come join us tonight because what he has to say is so important. Brett, first of all, tell us about the sentence you got.
I was sentenced in August to a year in Waukesha County, Huber, and also I was given the opportunity of doing community service and specifically speaking to kids about heroin and also about addiction and the dangers that, you know, it includes.
So you went to try to draw up a plan to get out to schools, to get your message across. What kind of response did you get from the schools?
Well, I'd written 14 letters, or I'd written a letter and sent it to 14 different high schools, and the response was pretty disappointing. I had received 2 letters back, and one of them said no, which is really disappointing.
So 12 of the schools didn't even respond to your offer?
No, I didn't. But I think it's really, really important that these kids get a perspective from somebody who actually has been through it, and which is why, you know, I really hoped I could come into the schools and talk to the kids.
Well, why don't you take 30 seconds and tell us what you would tell kids who are watching right now who may be tempted to try heroin. What would you tell them?
If I could talk to kids directly, I would tell them about the mistakes that I made, about how you think that you can try it and that you can put it away if it gets too dangerous, which is not the case, not even close. Once you step over that boundary, which is using it once, there's no turning back. And the sad part about it is you don't even realize you've stepped over that boundary until you realize you've become a full-blown addict. And, you know, you're slowly changing. So if I could, you know, really talk to the kids, I just want them to show them how I've changed over the last year, you know, through my using, and what kind of changes I went through and how terrible, you know, this whole experience was for me.
Well, Brett, you just did it right now. Thank you very much, and good luck to you.
Thank you very much, Brett.
Locked up, dried out, or dead. The heroin addict's only options. You've seen how this drug takes control, how it can lead you off a cliff, or even worse, kill you. What you haven't seen is what it did to this young man in Whitefish Bay. When we come back, a lifetime to reflect and regret. Welcome back to this Fox 6 News special. It's said heroin addicts end up in one of three places: in rehab, in jail, or in the morgue. You've heard the stories, you have seen the proof. But there is a fourth option, another outcome, another possible path for the heroin addict. A path that leads to a lifetime of regret. Even with an energy drink, Matthew Loughran doesn't move as fast as he used to. There's the daily trip with his mom to the methadone clinic where he gets his fix of the legal drug to keep him from falling back to heroin. But most of his time is spent here, hanging out at his home in Whitefish Bay. There's really not much more he can do.
It's a lonely place to be where he is right now. He's self-conscious about certain things, and he knows that people notice that he has, you know, the way he talks or the way he carries himself.
Matthew started with marijuana, then the harder stuff, painkillers and cocaine, and finally the heroin. Then, late one November night, upstairs in his bedroom, talking on the phone with his girlfriend, his addiction, his body, and his mind collided in a cataclysmic and disastrous series of events, an overdose that almost killed him.
And the last thing I remember of that night is I'm talking to her. I was like, yeah, what's up, girl? I'm not feeling so good, I think I'm going to die. And then that's the last thing I remember was this terrible, worst pain I've ever felt in my life. Man, it was so awful. It felt like someone just stabbed me in the chest with a huge knife. And then that was the last thing I remember was feeling like my heart just blew open.
Really, by the grace of God, I see it. I was home. Matthew had just started a job at a gas station, and he was supposed to actually be at work that day. And the gentleman called, and so I said, sure, I'll get him. And I went upstairs to get Matthew, and when I went upstairs, I opened the door. It was horrible. I mean, he was all gray-blue. And so when they got him to the hospital, his brain was swelling, and so they had induced him into a coma to try to help the swelling go down. They didn't know to what degree the brain damage was. And so the priest actually came, and then we also met with the organ donors because we really didn't think he was going to make it through those first 24 hours.
I couldn't move my legs. I couldn't move either of my arms. Some doctors talking over me saying, we're sorry, but you might never be able to walk again, because of the damage you've done to your body and all the nerve damage you've sustained and all. I had to learn how to walk again. I had to learn how to talk regular again. I mean, my speech still isn't totally back to the normality that it had once been. I mean, I still can't write fully. As you can see, I have a crippled hand. This finger is messed up. I've lost a lot of my vision. My memory shot. My memory was just so bad, so bad.
Matthew may never be able to work again, may never be able to drive again. The damage to his brain and his body from that overdose is that bad. Matthew, Angela, Hannah, Kevin, AJ, Ryan, it can happen to anyone, and it does happen. If you have questions about heroin, if you know someone you think needs help or you need help yourself, we have a list of numbers you can call on myfoxmilwaukee.com. Every parent, every counselor, and every recovering addict will tell you denial is as dangerous as the drug itself.
Don't say not in my school. Don't say not my child.
I walked up and the first thing I said, I'm like, who died? It's exactly what I said, and they all looked at me, and then here was my son.
Be prepared for your life to just fall apart before your eyes. You'll be sweating, and the next minute you'll be freezing. Then comes the puking and the diarrhea. I mean, just body shakes.
Don't play around with the stuff. It's hell. It's the devil. Don't mess with it. Straight up. You don't want to mess around with something that's going to take over your life like this.